Thank you all for attending our DNS demo today. Before we get started, I just want to set the stage before we dive into the tool. Think of DNS as the internet's phone book. It's what translates URLs into IP addresses, letting devices find and talk to each other. DNS filtering comes into play as a security measure that blocks access to dangerous, risky, or even inappropriate domains before your device ever makes a connection. This is what makes it so powerful because it operates before traffic even hits your network or endpoints. It can prevent users from visiting phishing sites, downloading malware, or connecting to known command and control servers that cybercriminals use to steal data or launch attacks. It also lets organizations enforce safe browsing policies and block certain categories of content, which is increasingly important in today's remote and hybrid work environments. The real strength of DNS is that it acts as the first line of defense. By stopping threats at the DNS lookup stage, you are dramatically reduce exposure to malware, ransomware, and phishing attacks. For example, industry research shows that over 80% of cyber threats leverage DNS in some fashion. DNS filtering intercepts these threats at the earliest possible moment, which reduces the burden on firewalls, proxies, and endpoint protection. Because it happens before the connection is even made, DNS filtering is lightweight and effective across all devices, locations, and platforms. That's why many organizations consider it the cornerstone of a layered security strategy. It's simple, fast, and highly effective at keeping threats out before they ever reach your users or infrastructure. Now, first thing I'm going to show you in terms of our solution is what a policy looks like. I already have one created, but all you have to do is simply give it a name and select the categories you wish to block. These categories are all pre-built and continuously updated with AI, so you don't have to allocate any of your time building massive block lists by hand. For example, if I were to block gambling or sports, the system will automatically catch any domains that fall into those groups, whether they pop up today or 6 months from now. On top of that, we also include threat-based categories, which automatically flag domains associated with malware, phishing, ransomware, or other malicious activity. This way, you're always protected from both unwanted content and emerging threats without constantly chasing new URLs. Now, let's say you want more control. Beyond the pre-built categories, you can create your own custom category. You can build custom allower block lists, giving you that precise level of control when exceptions need to be made. Now, when a policy includes multiple categories, you can set a priority order. This way, if the same domain happens to fall into more than one category, the highest priority category always takes precedence. That ensures the policy always behaves the way you intend. Now, after you have your policy set up, you would create a company and apply that policy. We do support multi-tenancy, but think of the company as the top-level container for all of your locations, devices, and policies. By structuring it this way, you keep each customer's environment cleanly separated, which makes management far easier, especially if you're handling multiple clients. As you can see here, all you have to do is dictate the name of the company, allocate the number of licenses. That represents the total number of devices that will be protected under this company. You'll also enter a notification email. This is important because any notifications pertaining to that company will be sent to that email. Now, with us, you can receive 2 different types of notifications, those being related to our domain review requests and our AI anomaly detection. And then you select the default policy for that company. That policy is then going to become the baseline level of protection for every user, ensuring that no one slips through without coverage. And lastly, you choose a block page and hit save. From there, we can drill down further, whether that's adding specific locations or deploying roaming devices for users who work outside the office. But what's important here is that consistency. No matter how distributed your workforce is, this is going to guarantee that every single user starts protected by default. Now, there are 2 different deployment methods. The first method is static or location-based deployment. This is the simplest and most effective way to protect every device at a single site, for example, like an office or branch location. Instead of deploying an agent to each endpoint, we are going to enforce the filtering right at the network level. For example, that could be through your office's gateway, router, firewall, DHCP server, etc. So that means that any device that connects to that network, whether it's a laptop, phone, or even a guest device, is automatically protected without needing anything installed locally. Once you insert all the information you see here, hit save, and redirect traffic to our CyberFOX DNS servers, protection is live. Every device on that network is now filtered and logged automatically. This approach is perfect for offices or branches with static IPs because it delivers centralized protection, minimal setup, and zero endpoint overhead. Now, the second deployment method is designed for roaming devices, such as laptops, mobile users, or remote teams that leave the corporate network. With this approach, protection travels with the user, whether they're at home, in a coffee shop, or at the airport. Now, there are two ways to deploy a roaming device and ensure they remain protected outside the corporate network. You can use our agent or DOH. Now, our agent does utilize DOH, but that is specifically for Windows machines. So through that, we are going to encrypt all DNS queries, preventing interception or tampering, and ensuring consistent filtering and blocking of malicious sites, no matter which network the user connects to. This agent can be pushed out through your RMM, Intune, or PowerShell. But for other types of machines that you want to manually configure a roaming device and still utilize DOH, for example, iOS, Mac, Linux, Android, Chromebooks, etc., you can manually configure those and still provide your clients filtering and protection outside the corporate network. Now, whether you use the agent for a Windows machine or manually configure a roaming device for those other platforms, the device is going to populate and appear under the company profile as a roaming device. And then from there, admins can adjust settings, reassign policies, change the block page, whatever you need to do here for a more granular approach. Now, in terms of the end user experience, currently I have gambling in one of my categories for my policy. So if I were to try to access betmgm.com, instead of the site loading normally, the user sees a block page. This page clearly explains that the website is restricted and provides context for why access was blocked. Now, depending on how you configure it, you can add this request access form like you see here. So if an end user really needs access to a blocked domain, they can put a reasoning in for their request. Whether they want full allow access or proxy access, we do offer a proxying service where we will strip out those bad macros in JavaScript for you. They hit submit. Not only will you receive an email notification that we set up at the company level, but all of your domain reviews will populate in the portal. And from here, you can choose to approve and essentially say yes or say no and delete them. If you do approve them, essentially what you are doing on the back end is you are creating an override. And as you can see here, you can create an override at the company level or just for that specific machine or static location. But at the end of the day, you have final say in terms of whether you want to fully allow that site, proxy it, or redirect it. So that would be useful because if any traffic needs to stay internal, that can stay internal. We do support split tunneling as well, and we do operate off an anycast network in terms of that latency aspect. Now, in terms of the block pages, they are fully customizable. We do have a pre-built template ready to go for you out of the box that you can use. You can clone and edit that as well. However, if you did want to start completely from scratch, you just hit create, and this is where you could do that. And then again, with one simple token, you can add that in your block page and that domain request form would populate. Now, in terms of our troubleshooting and reporting, so through the query log, you will be able to see exactly where your users are going and how your policies are behaving. You can see every single DNS query made during a specified period of time. You can search by domain location or device. You can further refine that by the status of the query, whether it was allowed, blocked, or proxied. You can sort those results by a variety of different methods and also filter by company. This entire report is exportable via CSV, and we also write to the Windows Event Viewer. So if you ever needed to ingest these logs into a SIEM tool, for example, you have that capability as well. Now, in terms of our actual reporting, again, each report is exportable via CSV, but at first glance, we are just going to show you a world map so where all your queries are headed. This is going to be a quick way to spot anything unusual. You can also review the total queries over the last 24 hours, your blocked rate per hour, your cumulative queries as a whole for 24 hours. We're going to show you your different types of queries in the form of a pie chart, and also how your upstream servers are behaving in terms of the percentage of blocked versus allowed queries. And lastly, some basic information such as your top 10 permitted domains, top 10 blocked domains, and your top 10 locations/devices, both from an overall count standpoint, so no matter how the query was handled, but also just the block count only. So you can see for my specific machine, I have roughly 10,000 blocked requests. Now, our visibility report is a great tool we also offer here. This is going to come into play when you're unsure if a domain is going to be allowed or blocked based off your current policy setup. So with this visibility report, you can enter a domain, select the company, select the roaming device or static location, you hit process, and we're going to tell you if it's allowed or blocked. So if an end user or client ever comes to you and says like, hey, this domain's being blocked, you can come and use this report to see if it's our DNS filtering tool that's blocking that domain, or if it's something completely separate outside our scope. Next thing I'll show you is our security center. So the security center is where we will post any high traffic alerts or any very suspicious patterns to provide you with full visibility into anything very malicious that your team is going to need to take action. And then lastly, our troubleshooting page. This is going to be a great first step to help you with any issues you are encountering, such as, configuration issues or block pages not populating. And then also, in addition to our troubleshooting page, we have a dedicated support page on our website to help you with any, issues you might be encountering. Other than that, that's the full rundown of the portal and management side of things, but also that end user experience. As you can see with CyberFOX DNS filtering, we give you that strong protection and straightforward management with very minimal overhead. You don't need a bunch of people. You don't need a giant budget to keep your users safe. And our solution is designed to deliver real security and control without any unnecessary complexity. So at the end of the day, that means you get the protection you need without the cost or hassle that you don't. Thank you so much for attending our DNS demo today. If you guys need any additional information, feel free to reach out to us and we will help you guys out. Thank you.